Welcome to another 3-minute takeaway. I've got a mug. It's full of some leadership topics. Let's pull one out, then we'll set our timer and we'll talk about it together. We'll see what today holds for us. These things are balled up so tight. Here we go. 3 words that shift hard conversation. 3 words that shift a hard conversation. Okay. Set a timer. Here we go. Did I put 3 words on there? I don't know, but there are 3 that I use when I teach, so I'll just go with that. I think there's a lot of words that you could use. Let me give you some honorable mentions. I'm sorry, right? I'm sorry. That'd be 2 of those 3 words, but that's an honorable mention. I don't think we say I'm sorry enough, right? Or I was wrong. Actually, that probably could be a whole video right there. I was wrong. That is not said enough in leadership. You know, our ego often gets in the way and then we don't admit when we are wrong. So some honorable mentions. I'm sorry. I was wrong. Those are great. But here's what immediately comes to my mind when I read this. A lot of times when we get into a tough conversation, we don't exactly know how to navigate it. Once we're in there, I think we've got to give ourselves some time, and I think we have to have a plan. So here's a strategy that I teach to leaders, and that is the when I invite strategy. What that means is when you're going into a hard conversation, you have to realize that you're not 100% right, you're not 100% wrong, and they're not 100% right, and they're not 100% wrong. Really, there's a little bit of both happening, and there are really 2 sides to every story. So when you're going into the conversation, one thing that I love to use is the when I invite. And here's how it goes. When is where you state the situation. What happened? I is where you state how you're feeling or the impact that it's had. And then invite is to hear them share their side of the story. So let's say that you're a supervisor and Bill is consistently late. You would say, Bill, when you are late to work, I feel that you don't care about the team. And you definitely don't care about Mary because she's waiting to leave to pick up her children, but she's not going to leave until you get here because then there'd be nobody to facilitate what she's doing that you're taking over. So I just feel like you don't care about the team. Can you tell me how you are seeing things? It's an example of the when I invite. That gives him a chance to share. How's he seeing things? What's the obstacle in the way? And that'll lead us to sometimes there is a really good excuse. There's a really big problem. Something's going on that is keeping him from getting here and we need to solve it together. And then sometimes there's a poor excuse. Sometimes there's a poor reason that he's just not prioritizing or he's not doing the things that he needs to be doing. Man, 20 seconds left. I could go for a little while on this, but I'll wrap us up. That's important to us as leaders because we open it up for him to share what's going on. I'm going to go over time because I think you need to know this. This is so good because as I teach this to leaders, they go, oh, I can create some space from me to be able to think and not to emotionally respond. So we're going to stop this. We'll give you a little more. This is your bonus. We'll call this like a 4-minute version. So once you do the when I invite and he shares his side of the story, create some space. Okay, great. Let me take this. I'll get with you in 24 hours and we'll talk through what our next step is. Then you get some space there. Then you're able to come back in to the conversation and you're able to say, well, I listened to your side. I heard what you had to say. Here's what I've decided. You see that? Here's what I've decided. You've had time to process. He thinks you took his part under consideration, which you did. You did, even if you already kind of knew what needed to happen, you took it under consideration, and now you have decided how you're going to move forward. It's just a good, healthy approach, a plan to walking into those hard conversations. So to recap, it's the when I invite, when, state the situation, I, state how you're feeling or the impact, invite them to share their story, put some space in between, and then come back with the solution and say, here's what I've decided. So I hope that helps you. We went longer than 3 minutes. This was the longer than 3-minute takeaway. But I actually really do love that one, and I think leaders see a lot of value in it. I'll see you next time.